Hello, I'm here to talk about playing Trollbabe at Spelens Hus here in Norrköping. It was one of the first games that I brought there to play. Seems to have taken off a bit. So you're going to watch the third session in just a moment. I'll tell you a little bit about the first and second sessions. It's a little more complicated than some games of Trollbabe. The first session included the players Leonard with Maria, and Adam with Elsa, and Nate with Angthild. So Angthild is kind of your classic Trollbabe with a hint of metal with her, her cropped black hair and her kind of metal accoutrements and looking very album cover. And Maria is quite different in that Peter decided to go with a very kind of mythological Nixie water woman Huldra archetype. So she's real unfamiliar with people and very kind of curious and wide-eyed and how do I get involved and who are you kind of thing. And then Elsa, as played by Adam, is very much a childlike, spunky, bouncy, smallish Trollbabe who's turned out to be a little more deadly than anybody expected, Adam included. But anyway, they were all together in the first session in Foggy Bottom. Foggy Bottom, as I decided this time, was a sandy lowlands bordering on the ocean, as you can see on the map. And it is, in this case, covered with a rolling fog, hip deep, and is all sorts of mysterious, especially the history of kind of genocide on a troll tribe there and the people who live there now. And so, therefore, there's all these troll bones that get dug up and used for shamanistic purposes. It goes on from there. Well, with all the family drama that occurred, suffice to say that our troll babes ended up in various circumstances, including Maria with a perhaps romantic, but at least very close partner with a human woman, and then also a few other interesting, one strides, away in triumph, and there's all kinds of interesting outcomes. But that was the first session. The second session, Nate was the only recurring player, and the other players were Leonard with let's see, who was he? Oh yes, Fafnir, and it was the name of his character. Linnea joined us as well, and she played Raven. So we have these other troll babes as well as Nate's. Well, anyway, so they all ended up in different places. So kind of the opposite. The first one they clumped, and the second one they were all in different spots. We had Raven at the Bloodgate. We had Fafnir at Crag Keep, and then we got to see the recurring Trollbabe in this case, who is Angthild, we got to see in the Stumpy Mountains. There was one of them was very soap opera-y, one of them was kind of rugged and draconic and icy waters, and then finally one had to do with, at the Bloodgate, with the ancient spell that was reforming an ancient temple, which was actually an arch across this isthmus. And anyway, so it was all very dramatic and got a little cosmic and very Robert E. Howard with kind of the priest, bringing the exotic priest, bringing the exotic past back into existence. And that didn't go very well for him, as it turned out. Well, so with the third session, as you'll see coming up, we actually reunite the first players, and we also see them in this case all converging on one spot. Again, these three players seem to like to do that. And it turned out to be the Bloodgate. So they're showing up the Bloodgate after Raven had kind of laid waste to the circumstances there. So they kind of get to see phase 2 of what's going on at the Bloodgate now. Well, anyways, that's our circumstance. They went up in scale once. I kind of decided that if any group, decides to go up in scale, or anyone goes up in scale at the end of one, all the troll babes go up. But in this case, it applies as well to the troll babes who aren't there. So as intended, whenever we play, they're all at the same scale. If it went up, it went up. Well, anyway, so they've done that. They did that once before the third session. So the third session was at the small group scale, and a player decided to pop it up again at the end of this. So next time they're going to be kind of at the village or fairly substantial small community scale when we play again with whoever it is that we're at the table with. Anyway, enjoy. It's the last time that I'm playing in the open room at Spelens Hus. The little studio is now available, and I've been playing in there since, and so the sound is way more, manageable. The room in question is actually a former theater, so it's actually meant to reverberate. Makes it tough, even with the funky mic. All right, here we go with session 3. Let us take a look at this map and also review, as we did with everybody a minute ago, let's review what has happened. 2 sessions ago, we had your Trollbabe, who is Maria,
Yes.
and yours, who is
Axel.
right, Axel,
Axel.
yeah. And yours, Elson, and all of you were in Foggy Bottom.
Yes.
And you had quite an adventure in Foggy Bottom, as I recall, involving the spirits of killed trolls in the sands
and the necromancer.
Right, the necromancer with the bones and everything like that. And so then the next adventure had Anfield again, but this time with Raven and another Trollbabe. And you were all split up.
Yep.
You were in the Stumpy Mountains, and I believe Raven was at the Blood Gate, and then Leonard's character was at Crag Keep.
Yeah.
Right? Crag Keep was an icy fortress way up here in the glacier. The Blood Gate is this strange, the place where
An intersection
of the water and the,
of course, by the bay of the coast.
So that was a very dramatic situation. And then the Stumpy Mountains were way over here, and that's.
Oh, so that's another part of the map.
Well, yes, and who knows where. And the nice thing is that these are not supposed to really match anywhere on here.
All right.
They're kind of like it somewhere.
Okay.
So the idea is that all of your characters are in completely different places, technically, except, of course, now you can all be in the same place or you can be in different places. You already picked a place for tonight.
Yep.
Which
yep. Bloodgates.
You're going to the Bloodgate, where we have been before, but you have not.
Yep.
Right? Or at least your character.
Yep.
Sounds interesting. Mm-hmm. And you guys can be in the same place or somewhere else.
I think I'd rather have the same place. I think that would be a meeting.
Oh, really? Okay, everybody at the Bloodgate again. You 3 players are like glue. You can't.
I speak for everyone.
Somebody told you not to split the party, and you've been believing it ever since.
We're also traveling with a human girl.
Yes.
Old Sifa, which I picked up from Foggy Bottom Bay.
That's right. Let's take a look at, if everybody's coming to the Bloodgate, let me remind you, remember the map here, remind you of what happened that your characters don't know anything about. Okay? So therefore they have no idea why the 2 sides of the lands that comes together. Okay. And it's still pretty far apart. Okay. It's still pretty far apart. But there's no reason that you know for why these new structures appear to have been built there. Especially because it would take a really long time to build these. Okay. And they are the base of a massive bridge.
The base of a massive bridge,
Which is all the way across.
It is still connected.
That is the interesting point. Is that the bridge is connected, but it is incomplete. Okay. It doesn't look finished. Right? So it looks as though it was just at the point where they were putting the connections together. And the whole thing also, I will tell you a little detail more when you get a better look. But the structures that are the base of the bridge on either side, think of an incredibly complex Aztec pyramid. By complex, you know how an Aztec pyramid has the four sides with steps?
It's cigarettes.
Think of multiple levels with flat spots. And
That's
secondary staircases. Yeah, it's a
That's
little more
cigarettes.
Babylonian.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also a little magical, so some of it doesn't always make perfect sense.
Okay, so it's a little, what the Lovecraft would term, a little bit Euclidean.
You
No,
could, perhaps. I like to think of M.C. Escher as having participated slightly.
Yes,
Yes.
That's a little more easier for mine.
So with that, we have our three Trollbabes and friends, perhaps.
Yep. And friends.
Oh, did you pick up a friend?
There have been some relationships on and off.
Friends and some extra friends on top of that, you could
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, your invisible friends.
So let's take
No, they're not invisible.
let's take a look at
Me?
Elsa and see how she arrives at the floodgate.
Well, Elson has been trying to shake off this Ogwin, the angry spirit that she picked up.
Yes, all right.
While you went to your places, she's being at the countryside trying to shake him off. But he's still there. Yeah. So she arrives through the forest.
Okay.
Yeah.
On one side of the floodgate, of
One
course.
side of the floodgates. Yeah.
So, and one thing that you will find is that the plants and things have changed very drastically. When you come to the part of the place where the forest kind of ends, you would expect to see the kind of plants and geography of the rocky seashore. But instead, you are finding all sorts of exotic plants, not like a rainforest, so not like all these huge flowers and colors, but more like grains and fruit trees. And it looks as though some people had taken care of them before, maybe not recently, but so it's a completely new. This is very strange. None of this belongs next to the ocean.
Look at all these fruits.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick an apple.
Perfect.
Is there apples?
No, sure.
Yeah.
Or something.
And then, like an apple, I'm gonna eat the apple while I'm examining the bridge.
Okay. And that's great. But tell me about what your Trollbabe looks like. Or tell us all about the world.
She's a very short trollbabe. She's a child trollbabe. She's like 8 years old. She has a blue dress. She's very, very, very childish. Very skitterish,
Yes.
like a child would be. She has a lollipop that she chews on,
All
maybe constantly. As a weapon of choice, she has a slingshot.
Yes, we have seen that slingshot.
Yes,
Yeah.
slingshot.
It's can have too
Green
many too big
hair,
rocks.
curly horns. What more can I tell about her? She is good at fighting, but magic it's not her deal. I rolled that.
All right. Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how do you arrive at it?
I arrived with a carriage. It's a decently fancy carriage.
It's actually quite decent. There's two sections to it, not just one.
Okay.
And there are paintings on the side, very artistic and well sort of simple. They would appeal to a common crowd.
Like a flower pattern or something.
Yes, and murals, pictures, And then there's also a team of horses that comes behind, or donkeys really. But the idea is with an extra horse or two so they can trade out the horses to pull. And there's always at least one person riding around taking care of the animals and scouting ahead and things like that.
Yeah.
And I suppose I don't suppose you're socializing inside.
No, not too much. But rather, I'm gonna keep a track on him anytime we come to civilized area.
Okay.
Did you conquer a kingdom or something?
No, I
What
did
did
not.
you do while I was away?
It was very complicated.
Yeah.
Social conflicts are quite difficult to get out of. He did not escape the social conflict. Sort of brought it along with him.
Yeah.